a husband, a father, co-founder of a nonprofit, a man who prides himself as an evangelist for the community, just an all-around great guy. This is his 6th or 7th rodeo on the I Love CVille network, and we're going to cover a lot of topics with Mr. Kerry Rock, including hiking, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
For a second time.
For a second time, right? I mean, good night. Twice, you're a pro. Waterboys update, what Do Good CVille is doing for their Memorial Day cleanup, the need for always supporting this fabulous nonprofit, the way to volunteer with Do Good CVille, and so much more. Judah Wickower is our director. You will see him actively involved in today's show. I'm also going to get Kerry's take on news that has tickled his fancy in the community, a man who follows the news quite closely, Kerry Rock.
I try to be well-read.
You're very well-read. You are on top of the news cycle. Judah, we can rock and roll when you are ready, sir. Guys, good Friday afternoon. I'm Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille show. Thank you kindly for joining us. We are live in Charlottesville, across Albemarle County, the country, the Commonwealth, and the world on the I Love CVille network. Today, we're presented by Skooma Boutique Dispensary. The best dispensary in Charlottesville is Skooma Boutique Dispensary, with a location on the downtown mall and a second location newly opened on 420 on Ellwood Avenue. More locations to come for our favorite dispensary, Skooma Boutique Dispensary. Today, we'll let you know how you can win free coffee for a year, courtesy of Greenberry's Coffee. We will welcome Kerry Rock in a matter of minutes to the program, the co-founder of Do Good CVille, all-around community stakeholder and one of the A-plus nice guys in the community that's committed to making this neighborhood, this area we call Central Virginia, better for everyone through his nonprofit, Do Good CVille. We have news from Belmont and Adam Frazier's restaurant outfit, Melissa Close Hart, the executive chef. The rebranding of Junction Restaurant in Belmont is happening, and the new restaurant will open later this summer. That story coming up to you in about 30 seconds today. Melissa Close Hart is a talented chef. We saw as she launched Junction to positive accolades, and then watched as the pandemic really slammed the restaurant industry. Immediately as a response to COVID and the pandemic, Adam Frazier, who's the owner of the restaurant group that includes The Local and Junction, they made a calculated and strategic decision of shutting down Junction, and it's been closed throughout COVID, and concentrating all the staff's efforts on The Local, which is located across the street from Junction in Belmont. The Local has thrived, persevered, has grown, and has really had success in to-go and takeout food, while now reopening its dining room. And now Junction Restaurant is going to be a new name. That story in 15 seconds. First, we'll let the viewers and listeners know, Judah, how they can get free coffee for a year through Greenberry's Coffee. Go to the URL, enter.greenberries.com, enter.greenberries.com to win free coffee for a year from the longest-running coffee roaster in Central Virginia, that's Greenberry's Coffee. So this is the lead of the show. Mockingbird is going to be the new Junction. And Melissa Close Hart, friend of the program, has said on social media that we are rebranding the Junction space into a plate-driven, seasonally refined Southern restaurant. We've also given it a new look as well on the inside. So that's positive for Belmont and positive for fans of Melissa Close Hart, including yours truly. Adam Frazier owns the actual real estate and the restaurant. when you own the real estate like he does, the Junction building and the local building, you can go and close for a couple of years, which he has with Junction, and reinvent a new concept and rebrand while also doing an all-hands-on-deck approach to the first restaurant in the portfolio, the local. Excited to see Melissa Closehart back on the line. Excited to see Belmont popping and thriving. I think Junction, in its short time in Belmont, has become a stalwart or a popular destination for Belmontonians and Charlottesvillians and Central Virginians alike. And to have that restaurant back not only means more jobs, but it means more a tangible and palpable buzz that's in the Belmont neighborhood air. It seats a lot of people. It's one of the biggest restaurants in the city is Junction, now going to be Mockingbird. So props to these guys with their late summer endeavor, Mockingbird Southern Cuisine, the rebranded version of Junction. Judah Wickhauer is our director. Let's go to the studio camera and let's welcome Carrie Rock to the show, friend of the program. Carrie, how are you?
I'm doing good. There's nobody that gives an intro like Jerry Miller.
Well, I'll tell you what. Anytime you're on the show, the intro is easy.
I really just come here to feel good about myself.
I mean, you are a phenomenal. First, let's do what we are first. Husband.
Yep.
Father of two.
Yes, sir.
First. Community lover, philanthropist, nonprofit co-founder, Mount Kilimanjaro climber 2 times, a beer guy, a local restaurant guy, a local music guy, a media personality, soon to be a podcaster.
You dropped that one early.
Carrie Rock. I mean, dude, you're crushing it right now. Catherine D'Souza is giving you some props. Kelly Arbogast giving you props. An amazing son, Carol Rock, puts on the feed. An amazing son. Carol, your son is amazing. I mean, what do you not do well, Carrie Rock?
Golf.
He does not golf well.
I am a horrible golfer.
The only thing in life this man does not do well is golf. To walk in your shoes. How are you, my friend?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on the show. For those that don't know, co-founder of Do Good Seaville. Been living in Charlottesville for 17 years now. Loving every bit of it now.
Kate Canterbury giving you some props. All right, the show's about Do Good Seaville. First item of business or news that we should highlight.
So big point is a major event we're having next Saturday, May 28th at Oakwood Cemetery here in downtown Charlottesville. This is going to be, I believe, our 6th year where we are getting the community together to wash the headstones of the fallen there. Last year, thanks in part to I Love the Seaville show, we had a mass show out of about 80 volunteers that helped us wash all 730 gravestones there in the course of 3 hours. So this year we're going to do it again, get the community together. The Charlottesville Fire Department's backing us again as best they can. We have sponsors this year to lighten the load on the Rock family for buying the materials as well as the flags. But yeah, 9 o'clock Saturday morning, volunteers show up, get ready to get a little dirty. We're going to be scrubbing the gravestones, planting flags, and then afterwards we're all going to meet up at Three Notch Brewery.
That's amazing. Timothy Key giving you props. Caitlin Chiquino, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that surname, Caitlin, giving you props as well. Keith Smith said on the morning show today that he was going to undoubtedly be there.
Yep.
And helped promote the cleaning on Real Talk this morning. The inspiration behind this event, I mean, this is as pure an event as you're going to find in the community. What was the inspiration behind it?
It was 6 years ago. I woke up on Memorial morning and just like I had plans like everybody else did to go to a barbecue, go out have a beer or two. And I felt like I was doing a disservice to the actual memory of the day. So picked up a rucksack, threw my boots on, and told Colleen, I'm like, I have to do something. I'm going to go do just a Memorial March. If nothing else, I can have an hour or two on the road marching in remembrance of my friends. Grabbed the flag off my house and just walked. Ended up, crazy enough, down at Oakwood Cemetery. Didn't even know that place was there. Walked down the main road in the middle and found an old gravestone from World War I. And Last name is Shelton, and I had a good friend, John Shelton, so stuck with me. But the grave was completely covered with moss and dirt and everything like that. And all I had was an extra bottle of water, an extra t-shirt, so I started washing it down and wiping it, doing as best as I could, and I made a promise Soldier Shelton that I would be back next year with more supplies. Come back the next year, it's my wife, and Chris Long was the third person. Funniest thing, that dude showed up in an Uber with a 5-gallon jerry can ready to clean.
Wow.
So we cleaned about 50 gravestones that year. Next year we opened it up, and it's grown ever since. The pandemic, actually, we thought we were going to shut it down because that's when Virginia had the rules against how many people could be in a location. James King from King Family said, forget that, we're veterans, we're going to do it anyway. And he helped spearhead getting the majority of volunteers that year. And ever since then, it's just been like the do-good events we have, like with Winter Wear Drive. They just run themselves after a while. The community expects them to happen, so we keep them going. And this is one, being a veteran, it's near and dear to my heart to show honor to those that have given everything.
Jamie Schwartz is watching. She says, hi, Carrie, you're absolutely amazing, and you're killing it right now. She's giving you some props. Jamie, we love you on the program as well. You're getting love from Lynchburg, Richmond, Short Pump, and McLean right now. So when you see the events grow, like you've seen them grow, and as you've said, almost run themselves, and I know he's being very modest because there's a lot of planning that goes into these events beforehand. So while they are successfully executed, it's because of the Rock family planning before the events actually transpire. What's it mean to you when you start seeing the community engagement higher and the interest even more excited and people itching to put this on the calendar? Keith's been talking about this event all week long.
It's very heartwarming to know that something you put your heart and soul into is loved almost as much as you can love it by people you've never met. There's multiple people that come to the events that I couldn't tell you their name from Adam, but they know what we're doing, they love it. So with that, they can see that their individual participation makes just as much difference as I make. And what we're seeing is like that little rock in the pond, everybody being those are creating their own ripples and seeing the empowerment it gives the people to see that as an individual, you still have the ability to do something. Maybe you're not going to cure cancer, but you know what? You're going to cure the blues that your neighbor has by shoveling their driveway or just being that one person that somebody needs. And that's the idea of do good. We're not going to save the world, but we can save some individual worlds.
I love this guy. I mean, he is so well spoken. Do good in the pandemic. Fortunately, I mean, knock on wood, I know cases are up slightly, but I hope it's behind us. I hope this is endemic. I know we're always going to have waves of COVID wherever we are, but how did you guys manage these unforeseen circumstances we call COVID-19?
It actually transformed the events into the better versions of themselves that they are now. Do Good evolved with the times. Like we spoke about the graveyard cleanup, how James King spearheaded. That was just grizzled veterans doing grizzled veterans things. You know, we're going to throw caution to the wind and do that. But it fully transformed the Winter Wear Drive that we do in November, and that one used to be a single event at a single location, previously Champion and Three Notch, where we'd have everyone would come on one night and make all the donations. We almost didn't do it in pandemic times because of that. But we had 3 different people show up at my wife's work and my house with donations saying, here's for your coat drive. So we knew the desire to donate was there. We had to figure out how. We saw people were still going out in certain places, so we spread the event out, making the drop locations that we have now. So the first year of pandemic, we ended up having 9 different drop locations around town where we just put the boxes in places that were safe areas to go. Through that, we extended it to a 2-week event, which now is the standard model for it. Takes the load off of us from having to do one huge pull on one night, and it eases the load to where the restaurants and bars and other locations can collect for us, and we can do like every few days we'll pick up. Then the distribution part is everything's still collected in our basement, and luckily we got rid of everything this year.
It's fantastic. I mean, do good, Seville, guys, big time things. He's climbed Mount Kilimanjaro twice. I mean, twice, dude, you're crushing it. How did number 2 compare to number 1?
So to climb, it takes us 5 days to get to the summit, and 1 extra day on the back end to get back down. The first 4 days, easy as pie, because I knew it was coming. I knew how to pace myself. The last day, the summit was a little more challenging because I knew it was coming and I knew how much it sucked. There's a point where you get to Gilman's Point, which is the southern crest of the volcano. They celebrate it, and like you think you're on top of the mountain, you still, no matter what you're doing, have 2 hours to go until you actually get. But you're above 18,000 feet at that point. You're going to 19,341. It's that part that kind of kicked my butt. Like, I know this is gonna just suck, but we did it, and it was a struggle. I will say, like, the whole thing as a whole was easier the first time. Just going at it, like, all right, whatever's in front of me, I'm gonna tackle it. My wife and daughter were the ones that got me through it this time, though.
How so?
You know how it is when your kids cheer you on. You always keep that little loop in your head. My wife had made some more pump-up videos with Amelia and her saying, "Go, Daddy, go." And then I was hitting 16.5, 17,000 feet and struggling. Like, I just played those sound clips on a loop, hearing my wife telling me, "You've got this. You can do this." And then hearing my daughter, in the video that she sent, Colleen tells her to say, "Go, Daddy, go." And she's like, "Go, my daddy, go."
Oh.
And so I just have like the sweetest little girl's voice in my head yelling, "Go, my daddy, go. You can do it." Like, there's nothing you can't do as a father when your kids are cheering you on like that.
That's amazing.
Took a little extra time getting up to the top, but we made it to the top.
What's the Water Boys partnership and the Kilimanjaro hike and commitment mean to you?
It's great to be a part of something that big, that has a worldwide footprint.
Really?
So then I can put my name on clean water's been provided to 500,000 people. Now that's Chris.
Yeah.
Chris and his organization made that happen. But I get to have a little chunk of that to say the $30,000 that we end up raising over 2 years, getting people involved and going there and doing the work and being a part of that. I get to have a little pride to know that I was a part of that. And it's cool, like, reiterating that point, like, they have helped 500,000 people get clean water in these areas. And some, like, yes, you're out in the rural areas 3 hours away from main town, but some of these places that we went and helped are schools that are 5 minutes away from the 4-star hotel that we're staying at. And the only reason they have healthy kids and clean water is because a football player in the United States decided, I'm going to do this. So it's kind of crazy, but it's kind of great to know that you can be a part of something that makes such a lasting impact. There's other things you can do. You can get financial security, job security, all those fun things. But if you can give somebody the gift of water, that is the gateway to all those other things in life. If you have your health, you can do that. You have clean water. You have a little more economic safety with your local area. Women have more empowerment over in the African continent when there's clean water provided in a safe location. It just goes so far, being able to provide clean water to people.
Ake Lindstrom, giving you some props right now.
Aki. So that's Orca. He is actually who led us up the mountain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he's either over in Kenya or Tanzania right now.
Fantastic. Worldwide, Kerry Rock. Dude, aren't you so impressed? I'm so impressed with what you've done with Do Good Seaville. I'm so impressed, and it's, it was expected with the success you had with Do Good Seaville, because I know the kind of guy you are. It was also expected with Chris, with what he's done with Water Boys, because we've seen the kind of commitment he's about. I mean, can you speak to the growth of both brands and nonprofits? You guys are going at it from different, spheres. He's got like you said, a global macro brand, where you got like this grassroots localized brand that in this community is beloved and cherished. Can you speak to like the efforts that have gone into growing these two nonprofits?
I think, while never going to compare myself to Chris and the Chris Long Foundation with what he's done with his stage, I think we both grow from the same root of being genuine.
Absolutely.
What we're doing at Do Good Seaville, I think that from what I see, people want to be involved because they see Colleen and I putting our whole selves into it. Like, if we ask for help on something, they know that this is something that is big to us, that means something to us, and we're going to put everything into it before we ask for help. Chris, I believe, is the same way. If you ever get to talk to him, meet him, he is the most genuine, down-to-earth guy there is. And while all these other football stars can do whatever in their off time, like, he's over in Africa making sure 500,000 people have water. They also have Hometown H2O that is helping people here in the States provide water for themselves that can't get clean water. The growth, though, it really comes back to being genuine in this world of mass market and cookie cutter things. When you find somebody that is doing something from their heart, that's a selling point in itself, when the person's doing it isn't even trying to sell it. My way of leading Do Good is, I'm going to go do this.
Yeah, it's example.
Yeah, it's just going to go do it. I'm not asking the city council or for anything. Like, fun fact, no one from the city council has ever shown up at any of our events. Like, it's not hard to see what we do, but nobody's gotten dirty in the
No
dirt.
elected official?
No, we've invited multiple.
Wow.
But that's the thing. That's where it goes back to our point. Like,
Sure.
it's just the citizens taking care of the citizens, and do good saying like, hey, we know this needs to be fixed. We're going to fix it.
How do we help? Volunteer, support, fundraise, donate. How do we help Do Good Seaville? And follow-up question is, should we be asking jurisdictional leaders to fund and help this nonprofit more?
So
Because there's a lot of nonprofit support out there.
there is, but there's also over 400
There's a lot.
nonprofits centered in Charlottesville.
That's true.
So specifically to help with the event, if you want to volunteer, go to our Facebook page or go to the website, dogoodseaville.org, and that'll have a link to how you can get in contact with us about volunteering. Or Saturday, May 28th at 0900, show up at Oakwood Cemetery. Be ready to get dirty, have a scrubby and a bucket. We will have a lot of those provided, but should more people show up, it's always good to have supplies. In regards to donations and things like that, we're more event focused or single goal focused, so we may have something that comes up and we'll do a call for action. So just check out on the website or the Facebook page to be involved with that. We actually got something in the works, just started last night, where we're going to help the Haven with underwear and t-shirt drive.
That's
and
awesome.
that's when we found a local provider that is going to be able to buy for us and help us out. So helps local business and helps local nonprofit and helps the homeless community.
Our homie John at Three Notch, watching the program right now. John, we love you. You have so many great events. I was talking with Patty Zeller, another one. I mentioned
She's
that
one of our
you're-
sponsors now.
Yeah, that's what she said. I mean, I want you to highlight what you're doing at Random Row.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you talk about as community as it gets. What you're doing at Random Row epitomizes that.
So Random Row, a year ago, good friends with Kevin, brewer owner, they have two efforts. The Dab for
He
Good.
knows a lot of brewery owners and brewers.
I don't know how that happened.
Carry Rock. He may or may not like craft beer as much as Judah and
Somebody's
I.
got quality control, and I'll put that burden on myself for the good of the community. But no, so he approached us, and Do Good Seaville has a good relationship with a lot of nonprofits in town. Random Row has two efforts: the Port Forward campaign and the Dab for Good Bingo Nights. And he asked if Do Good would take over the responsibility of finding the donors and running the events. So we've championed that, and Dab for Good happens once a month. We've had a great, resounding response to that, having nonprofits get involved with that. The Port Forward event is an event each month where it gives a local nonprofit a month of showtime where they can put all their information on the tables. They have a single beer that is their beer for the month. $1 per pour goes to that organization. The bingo nights, we're averaging about $1,100 to the nonprofits on that night.
I heard.
What was it? Cultivate Seaville, we helped out last month. They raised $1,800. But that's like, they bring a crew. And the best thing is, it's like, it's not me up there calling bingo numbers.
Yeah.
We found a better formula is having someone from that organization pump it and be the person up front. And that drives the crowd wild. So we're going to be following that model. But again, yeah.
Dude, I heard you're crushing it.
We are. But again, it's because it's genuine.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. We don't make any money off of this.
Yeah.
Colleen and I aren't getting richer for this monetarily. We're getting richer in life because we get to help people. And that's the part that people find weird when we always get asked from donors like, well, how much is going to you, or what's in it for you? Like, I get to be a great example to my daughters. Like, I get to be a good example to my friends. And I get to be like the husband that my wife deserves.
Oh, love it. Dude, I love it. He's drinking beer with other people locally at a brewery that's locally owned, and he's doing it for the benefit of charity and philanthropy. I mean, it does not get any better than that. Tom Lund, Belinda Curtis, giving you props. If you want to give some props to Carrie, put it in the comment section, and I'll relay your perspective live on air. Andre Xavier of Patch and Seaville Hop on Tour says hello. This would be a perfect event at Patch. Andre Xavier, not that I'm, trying to solicit here. It would be a perfect event. Patch has now got its indoor beer hall opened in Gordonsville. So, dude, you're going to be a broadcaster. You're going into the podcasting world. I think it's going to be amazing. Tell us Tell us the mission and the motif and the theme of your new podcast.
So yeah, it's now being revealed that we are going to be launching a
Should I not have said this?
No, that's we're on the show.
Okay,
It's
okay,
like you're breaking news here.
Okay, yeah.
Myself and my good friend Ken Shevlin, we're going to be launching a podcast called The Adventures of Fatherhood, specifically focused on fatherhood from when we found out we were going to become dads to all the way to we each have 2 kids, the funny stories throughout fatherhood, and then a large focus on the mental health and mental care of fathers.
I love it.
It's been found to be like really not a very well studied or very well supported in communities. Like fathers do get hit with postpartum depression, not as much as women. Women, it's 1 in 9 women by an actual medical board that did the study. 1 in 9 women will have postpartum depression. 1 in 10 dads will have postpartum depression, ranging from the first trimester to the 9th month of birth. Or
First year is brutal.
Yes, it is. They even found that number jumps up to 26% of men will suffer with depression between 3 months and 6 months of the birth. So focusing on that and trying to provide an outlet for men that are fathers, so they hear that like they're not the only ones dealing with this. Hey, you get these 2 other dudes from 2 different backgrounds, 2 kids, hear the stories, relate, talk to us. We're going to have some good guests on the show. But yeah, we're going to be recording the first 2 episodes this Saturday.
It's amazing.
Going to be releasing on all major channels as we can. And it's going to evolve as we can. We've already got about 40 episodes that we've got scripts lined out for.
Wow.
And if nothing else, it's therapeutic for Ken and I. Again, it's another one of those genuine things to where money isn't what we're doing it for, because there's not much money in podcasting.
Yeah. That's going to be tough.
But it's just going to be a fun adventure.
I am so impressed. Keith Smith says, thank you for all you do. Keith Smith, I relayed your praise for the headstone cleaning event that Do Good has on the show. Your mom is, as she should be, just a huge fan. Kerry gets to make his parents very proud, and he does make his parents very proud. He's also taught us how to drink good beer. Casey Christensen, hello and welcome to the program.
Hey, sis.
Andre Xavier says, you're truly an inspiration, very inspirational. So you're gonna launch this podcast about the trials, the tribulations of fatherhood. And I agree that type of content is not super robust right now. As we should, we prioritize the newborn and mama through this process. And let's cut to the chase. Mama is doing the work, and the newborn is just brand new to the world, and you can understand why there's uncertainty or this gambit of emotions with newborns. Oftentimes, the dad is left with, be the strong, silent type, especially for this first year where like the baby is so fragile, the newborn is so fragile, you worry if you turn so sharply, their head will fall off.
Yep.
I'm sure you were as I was. So I like it, man. I think that there's like this niche that needs to be filled with, it's okay to show vulnerability, and dad doesn't always have to be the strong, silent type. He can also be struggling with lack of sleep and depression. And like, good God, does this ever get any better?
Yeah.
Like, what have we done? What have we gotten ourselves into, right? I mean, all these emotions we all felt. And dude, you go a few days where it's like, you're working the overnight shift with the feeding, and then the sleep starts to work against you. And then things really start to get a little crazy when you haven't slept for 4 or 5 days.
And then you got the second one that you got to make lunches for and get all that done.
Right.
Now, I wanted to preface real quick, like, this isn't like a bash on parenthood is so rough, or being a father is so rough.
Sure.
And first and foremost, hats off to the mamas.
Yeah.
Yes, they put
Absolutely.
the work out. But we have a societal idea that there is like just a balance bar of pain or discomfort in this postpartumness, and that if one side's dipping, the other side has to be bigger and stronger. While yes, you do need to support your partner, you are also not wrong if you're hurting as well.
Right.
Now, the outlet should not be, like if you're angry or whatever, the outlet should not be your partner, but you need an outlet. And that's where we hope that this podcast will be something where someone can just commiserate but also laugh with us. Like, the first time you got thrown up on, or the first time you forgot diapers or went on a run with the baby and you forgot the diaper bag and you had to run back home before you get that blowout. So things like that. But again, to just bring light to the idea that it's okay to be hurting as a dad. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not a diminishing fact. It's just life.
Yeah.
And like all the things else that you do, we're going to get through it together.
Frank, is that family to you?
Papa Rock.
He says you continue to amaze me. Love you, Tiger.
Thanks,
Papa.
Papa.
I love when the family chimes in on the program, and I love the Rock family. I respect where it's coming from. I respect that, like, you constantly are willing to showcase, like, sheer and utter vulnerability. And you've done this while in a gym, on a bicycle, a standstill bicycle, was it for 24 hours?
24 hours he did. That was a fundraiser for Water Boys.
24 hours for a nonprofit. He rode a standstill bicycle. That ain't an easy task. Paul McCarter, welcome to the program. And he likes the podcast idea as well. You often are very willing and embrace showcasing vulnerability. And that is one of your, like, fundamental positive qualities that makes you just like an inspiring leader. Because when someone is literally on the front line of just about every, if not all, activities, and this person's like, this is what I'm going to do. I would love if you joined us. I may not be great on this. I may suck at this.
Yep.
I may be really good, but I'm going to do it for the betterment of this cause or this effort. People follow you. And you are a leader. People follow you. I want to follow you.
I appreciate that. But yeah, I did that to somebody again last week. We did a 16-mile Memorial Day march nationwide, carry the load that came through Charlottesville. If people didn't know what that was a 4,200-mile road march that they took the flag down from West Point, and they walk it along the eastern seaboard all the way to Dallas. And I always lead the flag through Charlottesville. But that was one where someone's like, I'm going to follow you. I know you're doing this walk. I'm like, how long you want to walk with me? Like, oh, I'm going to walk the whole time with you. And then it turns out to be 16 miles, and you kind of get cursed at a little bit. But yeah, people follow me, but I think it goes back to that same point that I made earlier. It's because it's genuine, and like you said, like, I'm going to lead from the front. If you want to follow me, cool. I'm doing this either way.
Yeah, I mean, it's motivating. Leslie Todd, this young man never ceases to amaze our family. Great job, Carrie. Amanda Litchfield. Carrie, I love this. I'm going to share this with Joel tonight. LJ and AJ for life.
LJ is their son. AJ is my daughter. They go to daycare together, and they are the cutest little couple.
So if you want to give the man some props and praise, put it in the feed, and I'll relay it live on air. What Charlottesville news? You are as well read as all of us. What Charlottesville news has interested you or tickled your fancy of late?
Local news? Honestly, the rebranding of Junction, that surprised me. I didn't know that was happening, but I'm very happy for Adam on that one. I got to become good friends with him back when I was a bartender down
Adam Frazier?
Yeah. I used to be the bartender at the Tiki Bar down at La Taza back in the day, so ran into him a couple times. So I'm glad he was able to weather the storm of COVID and change that up. Other than local news, I got nothing right now. Being a dad takes everything. You want to talk Russia? You want to talk other things like that? I'm well read on that. Local news
beer news? What do you make of the Bodos union? Did you follow that at all?
I haven't read it.
Bodos Corner trying to unionize. That's something that's intrigued quite a few
benefit?
folks.
They've got good benefits and good pay.
That's the struggle. The average Bodos employee on the UVA corner makes $17 an hour, and they're now unionizing collective bargaining to try to get more. And the owners are like, it's a bagel shop. We sell bagel sandwiches for a living. There's only so much we can do here.
Yeah.
So there's now that dynamic, and it's a dynamic that all local mom and pops, the owners, are following now. Because we know how influential Bodos is in this area.
Yeah. A boycott on bagels and they'll go crazy.
Yeah.
It's that weird balancing point to where, like, yes, the workers should get paid a living wage and provided what they need. But at the same time, they have to understand the limits of the business that they're working for. I'm not going to walk into Bodos and be like, you're going to pay me $50,000 a year so I can make bagels. It's just some workers not understanding what they work for. I'm not saying that we can do without food service, which the pandemic definitely proved we cannot, and that is an essential workforce item. But it's not that they aren't paid enough; it's that the business you're working for isn't making $50 million. They're going to cover maybe 200, 300,000 in profit in a year, and factoring in the payroll into that has to come into effect. At a certain point, if you get everything you ask for, sure, you'll have a job for 6 months, and that business is going to be out of business.
Right. Right.
I'd have to read more about the unionization, but
That's how I see it, what you just said. You just said it beautifully. The last thing I would want would be for the jobs to go away, or the jobs to head the way of automation, like screens and kiosks like we see at some fast food restaurants, because those are replacing staff. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. Three Notched Craft Kitchen, we both love Three Notch. They got a robot delivering food to tables now. Did you see that?
I've
You
seen
saw-
Wally, and I've talked to him about it. Now,
Yeah.
that one is to calm that one down. That is not meant to replace anybody.
It was a test.
It's in a test phase.
Yeah.
And they've found that it's not going to replace anybody. It's going to assist the current workers. That's not going to take any jobs or anything like that.
Right, right. And you're right. Casey, is Casey your sister?
Christensen?
Yeah.
Yes.
She says rock for mayor. You would make a great, you would make a great elected official. Would you ever do that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I know I've always told you no, but
You would crush it on that. Are you in the county or the city?
city.
Okay, you really would crush. 3 seats up for grabs in 2023.
Maybe 2025. Let me get the fatherhood thing
Yeah.
knocked out. Build a little more goodwill in town. I don't know.
You got a lot of goodwill. Authentic, humble, and kind. Great guest from Neil Williamson, the president of the Free Enterprise Forum. All right, well, I want to, Keith wants to invite you back for a Father's Day special on Real Talk.
Love to do that.
He just put that in the feed. How about some closing thoughts for your fans, for the viewers and listeners?
Just a couple points. Like, we'd love to see you out May 28th, Oakwood Cemetery, downtown Charlottesville. Come and help us out. Scrub up. You don't have to stay the whole time. It's a great way to start your Memorial Day weekend. Also, for any of those that want to get involved with the Waterboys organization, like I have, their Conquering Keeley applications go live next Friday. So check out chrislongfoundation.org or waterboys.org, and the applications will be live there. Again, just a thank you to you and Judah for giving me a voice today.
Always, Kerry, always. And the podcast released
Our hope is to release in the next 2 weeks.
next 2 weeks. Fantastic.
I will shoot you a message when it happens.
Please do. And it sounds like he's coming on Real Talk June 17th for a Father's Day celebration on Real Talk with Keith Smith. My friend, thank you.
Thank
you
again,
so
y'all.
much for joining us.
Charlottesville, have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too, Kerry. Kerry Rock, A+ people, do good Seville. Follow them on Facebook, please, and get engaged. Alicia Brer, we love you, Uncle Kerry. David, Alicia, and Elliot, giving you some props. 5 states and 3 countries watching Kerry Rock today on the program. Love that guy. You have a good one. Thank you, Kerry Rock. We appreciate you. For those that are just tuning in, this is the news we led with on today's talk show. Junction Restaurant in downtown Belmont is rebranding, and it's going to become Mockingbird Restaurant. Melissa Close Hart, the executive chef and the founding executive chef of Junction, will stay on as the executive chef of Mockingbird. She put on social media, Melissa Close Hart did. Melissa Close Hart said, "We've rebranded Junction into a plate-driven, seasonally refined Southern restaurant. We've given it a new look as well." So that right there is some news for you. One of the largest restaurants in the city of Charlottesville, Junction, is now Mockingbird. Adam Frazier owns the real estate and the business that is Junction, soon to be Mockingbird. He also owns the restaurant across the street, the local, and the real estate the local is in. 2 of the largest restaurants in the city of Charlottesville are the local and Mockingbird, from a seating capacity standpoint. Kerry Rock was amazing. The show is archived on iloveseville.com. The show is called the I Love Seville Show, and our entire mission is to showcase the best of the Charlottesville, Virginia area And I think Do Good Seville and Carry Rock embody those qualities undoubtedly. I'm grateful for you guys joining us. We are back on Monday at 12:30 for the I Love Seville show and for Real Talk at 10:15 a.m. You guys have a good afternoon. Take care.